This vehicle just kind of cut us off here. We were going about 30. I do believe that this lane ends. Yes, it does. So we'll see how FSD handles this. We do have a vehicle kind of behind us here. Getting a little stuck here. I got to give it a little bit of accelerator. Not sure what it saw. And it's going to park in a handicap, so I'm going to disengage that. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Barry. I'm in my Tesla Model 3 2024 rear-wheel drive right now. We're out for a drive using FSD version 13.2.2. I focus on Tesla's full self-driving software and capabilities, so I'm going to go ahead and press and hold this blue button here to engage Tesla FSD. And for the remainder of the route, the vehicle should drive itself without me having to intervene whatsoever. We're showing about 33 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now. And like I said, I'm running version 13.2.2. I have a couple stops programmed into the GPS right now. So again, thank you for tuning into today's video. If you want to stay up to date with Tesla's full self-driving software, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button as I release more and more videos like this while the Tesla team releases new functions and versions for their full self-driving software. So we're at the stop sign right now, just waiting to make a left, unprotected left. Very nicely done. It waited for that traffic to pass by both on the left and the right-hand side. And now we're assuming the far left lane and just keeping up with the flow of traffic. I am in the standard profile right now, and I expect that I'll probably stay in that profile for the majority of the route. It is Saturday afternoon around 1 p.m. Eastern time, so we should see moderate traffic on today's route. If I was a new FSD driver in 2025, what would I do? There's a few things that come to mind with that kind of question, because my initial thought was that I started using FSD about probably a year ago on early versions of version 12, and the sudden difference between version 12 and the version 13 that we're on right now, which by the way, I've seen other people receive version 13.2.4 and 13.2.5. So I'm expecting that any day now on my vehicle. But the things that I think about when I think about a new driver trying FSD for the very first time is the stark difference between 12 and 13. So if you're just assuming the FSD functionality for the very first time, if you're testing it out, you could see here we're waiting on this red light to make a right, and it went for it no problem at all. So version 13 has just been absolutely amazing. So if you're just jumping into FSD and you're getting a free trial on the vehicle, which Tesla really likes to do a lot of times, they'll provide customers with a free 30-day trial to try out FSD. That's kind of what I did back a year or so ago with version 12. And I liked it, but it was still at a point back then, about a year ago or so, where I thought to myself, there's no way I would pay for this. It wasn't reliable. I had to intervene with the vehicle a lot. I had to make sure that it's doing the right decisions a lot more than I do today, which, you know, with version 13, it's just a stark difference. It's so much more confident, reliable, much safer, although far from full autonomy. So it's still, you have to make sure that you're still engaged with the vehicle, paying attention to the road. There's been a slew of different things that this vehicle with FSD version 13 has tried to do, which would have put me in a very, very bad situation. But the ratio between those types of decisions are much, much lower today with 13 than they were with 12. So if you're a new driver just trying out FSD for the first time or thinking about it, if you're on the fence, I would say definitely go ahead and take advantage of the free trial if you see it on the software on your vehicle. If you see that pop up, slowing down for this yellow light here very, very nicely. So I would say definitely try it out, give it a shot in your area. And one of the things that I would do if I was a new FSD driver or user, I would try it out in an open road first with relatively low traffic conditions, just to see how it works in your area. Every city, every suburb, every downtown, it's very different. They have all super different unique situations. They're all very dynamic environments. They have all sorts of different variables. So if I was a new FSD user, I would try it out on a day and time that has moderately low traffic conditions just to get your feet wet and see how you like it. I will tell you, it takes a while to earn the vehicle's trust. It took me a long time. What I mean by that, and just to pivot here, you can see this yellow light is flashing. So this intersection is just kind of that one of those cautious intersections. Perhaps this is a fire station here to the left, or a hospital rather. So it's going right through. You could see it's understanding the difference between when it needs to stop at intersections and when it doesn't, and it's very confident. So we're going to be making this right here at this light. And so it definitely takes a while to earn the vehicle's trust. And what I would say is take your time with it. I mean, it took me probably a good 2 months, a good full 2 or 3 months to earn its trust and allow the vehicle. I'm now allowing the vehicle to do the things that it wants to do while supervising it very attentively, of course. My stress levels have gone down a lot. So the very first thing I would do to earn its trust is take it out on low traffic conditions with when a good day and time for you is when there's no or low traffic in your area. That's number one. But I would also attach to that same point, take it out on an open road. Highway is pretty good to test it out for the first time. I think that's something that I probably would do as a first time user, just looking back retroactively on my experiences. I would definitely take it out on the highway first to see how it reacts, and get comfortable with it that way, because my experiences with highway driving have been absolutely phenomenal. And typically with highways, obvious reasons, you're just going one way. You'll be doing some lane changes. So it's a really good way to get your feet wet with FSD. All right, so we're going to be making a left here at this light. We have quite a bit of traffic piling up here coming our way, but we should see FSD creep up past the line here, since this is the very last set of traffic here. So it's slowing down at the line, which is fine. Light is turning yellow, but it didn't care. It committed to this turn. Very nice. Went and made its left, and now we're in this residential area. This is another area that FSD version 13 has just been shining. It has been phenomenal in residential areas, slowing down for speed bumps, avoiding snow pileups, things like that. Although I have heard from you guys in the comments below that you've also seen situations with 13 where it doesn't do that. So I got one comment where somebody said that it ran over a 2x2 or a 4x4 plywood on the street, which that's not great. But mostly in my area, at least with my hardware, this is again a 2024 Model 3, quote unquote, the Highland version. It's been pretty reliable in terms of avoiding other vehicles and blockages on the road, snow pileups, debris, things like that. So it's been pretty reliable in that sense. And that's a huge difference between 12 and 13. I remember with 12, it didn't stop for speed bumps at all. I mean, it flew through at 30, 40 miles per hour at one point. And I was shocked the very first time it did that. I disengaged FSD the first time I had it run through a speed bump. So I stopped it right in time before it really messed up the bottom of my car. But with 13, I don't have to really worry about that at all. So you can see it's extremely, extremely confident here. The second thing I think I would do if I was a new FSD user in 2025 is make sure you're on the latest update. So if you're a subscriber or user of the free trial, before taking it out for a spin, go ahead and make sure you're on the latest update for your area and for your vehicle, whatever it offers at that time when you do subscribe. Obviously, you want to be on the latest and greatest, so that's one thing you just want to make sure. Go into your settings, and if there is a pending update available for FSD, definitely go ahead and download that. I know that seems pretty obvious, but just want to remind people that are just jumping into FSD, make sure you go into your car's settings, go to software, and see if there's a pending update or not. If there is, definitely download that. Make sure you're on the latest and greatest before you take it out. Especially if 13 is available for you, you should take advantage of that right away as part of your free trial so you get a good understanding of what it's capable of. But you can see here in the residential areas, I'm not having to intervene at all. There is debris in the road here, but it's not on our side on the left. It looks like a soda can or maybe a Pepsi package. So I would be curious to see what FSD would have done if it was on our lane. This vehicle just kind of cut us off here. We were going about 30. I did feel FSD slowed down a little bit, so that was very nice. It's very, I'm feeling very safe with this version. And like I said, every time I say that, I kind of want to preface it with I'm still being extremely attentive. There's been an array of things, like I said, where the decisions are super, super questionable. But I mean, this is awesome overall. Like, I'm very comfortable. You could see it swerved off to the right a little bit and then made its way over to the left to avoid the oncoming vehicle, but also the vehicle is parked on the right. So yeah, I mean, you can see I'm pretty comfortable right now letting the car do its thing, especially in this residential area. And we're approaching our very first stop, by the way. So once we get to that first stop, what I'll do is I'll remove it and it should reroute us to the second stop. And I like doing that type of GPS modeling because it takes autonomy to a whole nother level, for me anyways, because if I'm modifying the route in real time, I don't have to intervene with the system whatsoever. I just remove it. So it's like kind of the idea of a fully autonomous car. If you just ship it out, right, in your home or you're sleeping in the back seat, let's say one day, we're far from that. Maybe probably in the next 2-3 years, we could start to see pilots of that, like I mentioned in my last video. But you know, if I remove the stop in real time and it reroutes itself and goes on to the second stop, it's bringing autonomy into even more detail and highlighting the capabilities here. So as we approach this second stop, we're pausing here at the stop sign. We're going straight. This is a huge dump. Okay, very, very big bump there. I'm going to go ahead and modify this trip here. So I'm going to edit trip and then take that out and then click done. You can see it's pausing for this vehicle. So I just removed this stop here and it's rerouting itself in real time, which is awesome. So it's making a U-turn now and we'll see if it gets us out of this parking lot. Yep, I think it's going to get out just fine. I'm not going to have to intervene. So you saw I just had to remove that second, or rather this first stop, and it's rerouting in real time. And it's getting out of this plaza. Perfect. I didn't have to intervene at all. So all I had to do is just remove that one stop. Quite a decline here. We have vehicles. Ooh, okay. Interesting. We had some vehicles approaching on our right side. And it tried to go for it. And then it paused to let the traffic flow. And now we have an opening and we're going for it. So that was nice. I like how it stopped there. There was a bit of a blind spot far right where the road kind of curved. And then as soon as it saw those vehicles, it stopped, even though it was already progressing slowly. It was probably going about 4 or 5 miles per hour there. So now we're heading to our second stop. And again, the reason I like modifying the stops here in real time is because it's bringing full autonomy into really great detail. So just imagine you're shipping your car out, you're at home, you have multiple stops that you need to uh, take care of, or if you have multiple things that you need to pick up, you just program it, right, and ship your car out. It'll stop at 1 stop, 2 stops, 3 stops, and then ultimately head back to your final destination, wherever that is, your home, your office, your workspace. Um, you know, all while you're at home or working, your car's out and about. So this is kind of replicating what that would look like. And that's why I kind of like having pre-programmed stops and then modifying it in real time. All right, so we're slowing down. We have this truck here parked in the middle of the road and quite a narrow opening with vehicles on this side waiting to pass, but it just went right for it. Not a problem for FSD at all. It was very confident. It slowed down and it took its time, but it ultimately did a really good job. We'll be making a right turn at this light right here. All right, so we're pushing forward here at this red light. We have some blockage on the left, as you can see those two vehicles, but we have an opening and FSD is going right for it. Not a problem. We're going to be going straight here for about 3 miles or so, and then we'll be merging onto the highway. The next thing that I would do if I was a new FSD user in 2025 is I would subscribe to the software. They have now two pricing models that they never used to have prior. This was introduced probably about 5 months ago or so, maybe 5, 6 months ago, where you can pay a $99 subscription fee for FSD and you can cancel at any time. So if you want to try it out for a month and you don't have the free trial, or if you want to extend the free trial and use it for another couple of months, you can subscribe to it for $99 per month. They do still have an outright price. I believe the outright price is about 8,000 right now. And I'm shooting this video in mid-January of 2025. So current pricing for the outright package is about 8,000. But again, you could just subscribe to it on a monthly basis and just test it out, see how you like it. And it's really great for people that are, let's say, over the age of 60 as well. A lot of my viewers are over the age of 60, and I get a lot of feedback from you guys saying that it makes your life just easier to commute. I've even got multiple people saying that they get out more as well. So they get out of their house, they travel a little bit more around their areas, more confidently, more safely. So that's a really interesting perspective too, is it's allowing people over the age of 60 to use this software and travel more, feel more comfortable driving. So that's an interesting perspective as well. I think that's great. I mean, I think that's huge, and we'll only get better, of course, with FSD software. But I think if you're finding yourself getting out of the house more because of FSD, that's a pretty awesome win in my book. So we're going to be merging onto the highway in about 2.4 miles here, going southbound to our second destination. So I'll check in with you guys once we get there. All right, so we're approaching the highway now, which we'll be merging onto 270 South here. And again, with highway and version 13 for FSD, I've had absolutely no issues. I don't recall any situation in which I had to even disengage on a highway, which is why I recommend new FSD testers and users to take it out on the highway first. It's extremely reliable and it's pretty safe overall. You'll get a sense of what FSD is capable of doing and how it operates, because there's obviously a lot less dynamics and variables on highways. So it's a good way to kind of get used to what the vehicle will do. The next thing I would say for new FSD users, the next tip I would say is that you want to make sure you adjust your offset settings. And what offset is that you're allowing the vehicle, you're pre-programming the vehicle's speed, and you're telling it what you're comfortable with it going past the speed limit and what you're not comfortable with. So if you set your offset to a specific percentage over the speed limit, you're essentially allowing the vehicle to assume X amount of percent over the speed limit. The reason that's there is because you are allowing the vehicle to keep up with the flow of traffic. In the US, a lot of vehicles go above the speed limit. So right now we're in a 65 and we happen to be going 64, but my offset is set to 15% over the speed limit. And so I think setting that before your first FSD drive is very important, because you don't want your vehicle to speed as you're getting used to the software. The default settings for FSD is 40%, and that's just what Tesla pre-programs for you if you don't change that. And to me, 40% is pretty high. There are some intricacies with how that speed works, so you might not assume 40% over the speed limit each and every time, but there is that cap of 40%, which I think is really high even for experienced drivers. Like I said, mine is set to 15%. And so for me, that's been very good and safe and comfortable. So I would set it to 15%, and then you can always adjust up or down from there. But let's say you're going, you're driving in a 25 mile per hour zone, you will be going about 31. So that kind of gives you an idea of how much speed your car will go if you have that offset set. So I would definitely recommend to set that, and it's very easy to do that. All you got to do is just go into your vehicle settings, go into the autopilot section, find your offset, and then change 40%, which is the default, down to whatever you're most comfortable with. I would recommend trying 15% at first, 10 to 15, and then adjust from there. Making a lane change here over to the right lane. FSD is preparing to turn right. Right past this light is when we should be making a right turn, and we'll be entering a kind of a town center area with lots of pedestrians. Typically, it is quite cold out, so we might not see much foot traffic, but we should see definitely a good bit of traffic overall. So we'll be making this right turn here, right behind this Dodge Ram. And what I'll do here in a second is modify the trip once more, and it should reroute us to our third stop. So right up ahead, we should be making a left turn. FSD realized that this far left lane was a left turning lane only, so it did not assume that, which is nice to see. Making a left turn here, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and edit this trip right now, and then I'll go ahead and remove this one stop, and then click done, and it should reroute us automatically to our third stop. So we do have a decent amount of pedestrians here. We're making a stop here. We don't actually have to stop. There is no stop sign for us. This side of traffic does have a stop sign. So I love how FSD realized that. Even though this car was waiting well before us, it realized that we didn't have a stop sign, and so it went right for it. So it's really making these strong decisions very fast as well. And it's just, that's the theme of version 13. Very confident, and the decisions are pretty intelligent in that sense. I mean, that was a pretty good example of, hey, I don't have a stop sign. That vehicle's waiting there, but it doesn't apply to me. I have to keep going, right? So FSD is making those decisions on the fly. Really cool. So we have, typical town center, outdoor mall traffic here. Vehicles parked on the right and on the left. And then we have stop and go traffic. But again, FSD is doing a really, really great job picking up all the pedestrians on the map as well. We have that person here walking to our right and the minivan right behind us. But it's not a problem. FSD is just committing straight. As we creep up to this area here, we'll have pedestrians crossing. So we'll see if we have any people crossing while we get up to the lane here. I don't see any pedestrians. I'm curious what FSD is going to do. Okay, so it didn't even stop. It realized nobody was waiting. It didn't see any people, so it just went through. No reason to stop, so great job there. We have these people approaching us. We'll see if FSD does. Okay, it stopped for a second there, as you saw, but ultimately just went for it because they were, the people trying to cross were also a little bit hesitant, so FSD just committed to going straight. We do have an unprotected left turn. All right, it found an opening on the left, clear on the right, and just went right for it. Awesome job. Awesome job. Very happy with that decision there. We'll be making a left turn at this light up ahead, so I'll check in with you guys once we do that. Okay, so I want to point something out here. There's vehicles that are stopped up ahead, and we're at this sort of four-way stop right now. FSD decided to stop right where it's at to not block the flow of traffic. I love these types of decisions because it shows the intellect that it has. So instead of blocking the road or the middle of the street, it just stopped here, and now it's trying to decide what it wants to do. So it was deciding whether or not it wanted to let that car pass. Ultimately, it didn't. Now it's making this left turn, but it's making really intelligent decisions, which I really like. So there's no point to block the road if you know you can't move forward anyway. So it stopped at that four-way stop and just waited until it has that clear path. Merging onto 270 South here very nicely. FSD realized that both of these lanes allow to merge onto the highway, so there's no reason to hug the far right lane if the lane you're in allows to merge onto the highway. So it did that very nicely. I do believe that this lane ends. Yes, it does. So we'll see how FSD handles this. This lane is ending, and it's still hugging the left side for some reason. Okay, so that's not great right there. It's still hugging that left lane very, very close. It should have merged onto the right lane well before it did, so that was not great. I didn't have to disengage, but you saw I was very far left on the curb, on the lane marking, and I should have merged over to the right way before that. Not sure why I didn't do that, but now we're merging into the center lane here on the highway, and then we'll be making another left change here, left lane change very nicely. I'm going to go ahead and change FSD driving profiles from standard to hurry mode. We'll see how hurry mode does here on the highway and ultimately once we get into the city. So our next and final stop is going to be the downtown Columbus area. You can see FSD is doing a very good job. With hurry mode on, you'll see that the vehicle is going to be making a lot more lane changes. And that's it to be expected when you do enable hurry mode. It's trying to get you to the destination as quickly as possible in the most safe manner. So you'll see a lot more lane changes, a lot more speed onset kick in. And so I kind of want to see how hurry mode is going to do here on the remainder of the route. And I appreciate all your comments from the last video too. I raised a question on whether or not any of you guys have done longer road trips with FSD. I have not yet tried that. And a lot of you have, and you provided really great feedback. One of you guys even said you did a trip from Central Ohio down to Florida, about 1,200 miles. And you guys just love FSD for road trips, which encourages me to try it out even more. I've been definitely wanting to try it out. And, you know, all your feedback is very encouraging to do so. So once I do, I'll definitely make a video on that and give you my thoughts both during the drive and after. You see hurry mode is really kicking in now. We're making a lot more lane changes and we're picking up speed much quicker. We'll be assuming our max offset speed as well. So we're going 70 miles per hour now. And the speed limit is currently showing 55, but I believe it might be a little bit above that. It just hasn't registered the new speed limit yet. If you haven't yet subscribed, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. I really appreciate all of the support that I'm getting from you guys. It's awesome to see the channel grow, and I appreciate all the comments. I try and read every one of them. I'm getting a lot of comments though, so it's taken some time to get through all of them, but I'm trying to my best to respond to each and every one. So definitely consider hitting the subscribe button to stay up to date with Tesla FSD software. So we're staying on the highway here for about 4 miles. I'll check in with you guys once we get off the highway and into the downtown area. All right, we're now getting off of the highway and into the downtown city line here in Columbus, Ohio. This is where I start to see FSD degrade a little bit, and I'm not as comfortable allowing it to make decisions as I am in the suburbs and on highways. There's just too many variables, too many dynamics, and there's a lot of room for improvement when it comes down to downtown city areas. I've seen it make decisions that are just not ideal and definitely not safe. So this is now where I begin to be way more attentive, not to say that I'm not, but this is where I become even more attentive to the decisions that it wants to make, because there's just too many variables, too many dynamics. And, you know, I've had situations where the vehicle with FSD in downtown areas tries to go through a blocked road with a clear block sign, like there's either a blockage of cones preventing the vehicle from going forward, but it still tries to go forward, which is crazy to me. That's never a good idea. And I try and flag it every single time as well. That's another thing that you can and always should do, is if you get into a situation where the FSD software is making a decision that's not correct and you disengage, the FSD team, the Tesla team, allows you to send feedback to them in real time simply by pressing the microphone button on the steering wheel once you disengage. And you can just give a quick 5, 10, 15-second summary using your voice on what happened. They take that data, they process it, and then they make the software better. So I try and always do that, and I recommend others do that as well, because that's how ultimately software will get better over time, is by feedback and learning from previous situations, previous failures. And, you know, I think that's a really great feature. We're making a lane change over to the right. We do have a vehicle kind of behind us here. All right, so it's going to stop right here. See that? So that vehicle did not like that decision by FSD. So it pretty much cut off that Volvo, which was definitely not great. I'm going to go ahead and engage drive here and then take off myself. And what I will do is carry on with this route in the downtown area. All right, so I've just programmed a new destination here, maintaining the downtown area. We have a road closed sign up ahead, but it's maintaining this direction very well. It's just following the flow of traffic here. We'll see what it does here. This is a really tricky situation. I feel as if a lot of times FSD follows the lead of the vehicle in front of you. Obviously, the road is closed down there, but I feel as if, I don't know if this is true. Somebody definitely let me know in the comments below if you know how the software operates, but I think that the vehicle follows the lead of the vehicle in front of you. So if the car in front of you, like it just did, made that right because the road is closed up ahead, it kind of follows that same path, maybe, because I don't know how it knows that road is closed up ahead. So, you know, it's following the lead of all of these vehicles in front of me, because otherwise I don't know how it knows if it's closed. I don't believe that FSD version 13.2.2 can read road closure signs like that yet. So I feel as if it just kind of follows the lead, but definitely let me know in the comments below if you've had that same type of experience or if you know how that software operates. All right, so we've been making this left turn right up ahead here. Right at this red light, we'll be making the left, not at the light itself, but it looks like right past it. So right where this vehicle is going, actually. So we'll see how it handles this turn right here. Very nice. It's not getting confused. I'm very happy with FSD right now. I must say I'm very surprised and very impressed with how it's reacting to all of these unique downtown intersections, traffic, people. I'm really happy to see this. This is actually pretty impressive. Like I said, I've definitely had to disengage FSD in the past with this type of environment and in very similar, if not exact same situations. So far, it's doing very, very well. Right turn to our final destination right here, right up ahead. Let's see. I don't know why it's deciding to go in here, but that's fine. I'll go. Okay, so it's getting a little stuck here. I got to give it a little bit of accelerator. Not sure what it saw. It said that there was an object in the path, but there clearly wasn't. So I'm not sure what it saw. I had to give it a little bit of accelerator to move it along its way. So we'll be approaching the destination here on our left side, but not sure what it saw. There was nothing in the street that I could see. It was just a very tight turn. So I didn't have to disengage, but I did have to give it a little bit of accelerator. And this is our final stop here. I don't think it will park for us, but we'll see. Let's see if it just drops us off. Okay, so it's thinking about parking, and it's going to park in a handicap. So I'm going to disengage that because I don't want it to park in a handicap. But again, we're at our final destination. So that was pretty awesome. I mean, overall, that was really good. You could see these situations here are really, really challenging, and they're difficult for FSD. They're even difficult just for everyday drivers. I'm going to go ahead and steal this spot right behind the Suburban here to get out of its way. But again, thanks for tuning into today's video, guys. I really appreciate your support. I hope you enjoyed this test drive of FSD, and I hope you were entertained with what it can and cannot do. If you haven't already, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. It's awesome to see the channel grow, and I appreciate all your support. I'll catch you guys in the next video.